Absolutely.
It's a very good response to the Doom.
I mean, it's just nice to actually see them not go into the Grimstroke. I was worried because typically in the past we always see this. You see it because it feels natural to put those two together, but then the trap that you always fall in is after you do that, you see teams draft around the Grimstroke. And they're not drafting around like a true win condition, like a Morphling late game or a Terrorblade carry. It's just, well, if we get the double Doom, we'll just inevitably win the fight, right?
Yeah, again, the issue with that is it's like, even though it is good, it's not that good to win your games. You saw in previous games where, sure, you get the Soulbind off and he might doom them, but in reality, the Doom needs to be dooming one key hero. For example, an Omni Knight or a Morphling, right? It's like, that's just like I think it's a cheese mechanic that can be good in games where you don't have a crucial Doom target. And early in the draft, you don't know who that is, so.
Exactly. There's still room if they want good synergy anyway with Avenge, but this is the type of thing that maybe you look at as your fourth pick after you see two more from 178.
Potentially so, yes. Well, the Centaur is I don't think you should subscribe too much into the Doom now with the Centaur. So
No.
HellRaisers will be looking like the gyro pick still works for them. They need a little bit more team fight, and then a really powerful carrier's key. So they've got the Ogre instead.
Alright, well, there's definitely an enabling aspect to 178's lineup. The bust from Ogre, the Stampede for disengage or re-engage. So, big carries that we're maybe looking towards.
Draft is being so quick this game.
This is rapid right now. We're finally going to get some Razor coming out. Hero did get some significant changes with a static link now attacking targets that you're linked to, and his passive damage burst being moved across to his ultimate.
The question for HellRaisers right now is simply, we don't have last pick, so this Razor pick is so strong because it can be both mid or carry, right? So now the HellRaisers have to decide, are we going to try and counter this Razor in 2 lanes, or are we just going to pick one hero that can beat him and just assume it's one in mid lane, for example? So right now you've got this Doom, which is obviously, you assume you're 3, the Leshrac will be 4, and Venge is your 5. So, okay, they picked the TA into the Razor. So, which is interesting because TA, it is pretty much a melee hero due to how small its attack range is at the start of the game. So the Razor for TA matchup, it can be Razor favored, but TA does have the ability to just go jungle. So after a couple levels, when it starts getting rough, when there's more points in static link, TA can just farm at the jungle, and potentially a hero can rotate mid and draw aggro away. So there are ways for this TA to be enabled.
I was going to say that's the big difference between these two, right? Like you mentioned the TA could farm. Razor used to be able to match that farm, but now that they've moved the damage aspect of his passive across to his ultimate, you have to activate your ultimate to do that. So you need the situation where either you're stacking or your supports are stacking. And if we're honest here, Ogre Magi Disruptor, compare it to Avenge. You really wish you had this kind of like double stack support now for your jungle area.
Yes, no, sorry, not gonna lie, mate. I was just thinking about this TA too much. I was looking at this TA like, is it good? I was really trying to work out how it's gonna play out. So,
I mean, it could be like there is risk, right? Because the disruptor can ruin your day, but pre-BKB, and that's like the biggest threat is because you want Deso into Blink, then BKB. So it feels like for HellRaisers, the first Roche is going to be absolutely crucial, and you do have minus arm with Avenge plus TA.
Yeah, I just think it's the same elements. Like each game, we've always spoke about like a style and what they need to do, and this HellRaisers draft has the same style that they've had in all their winning games. They've had decent laning phase into a very clean 20-minute kind of aggression. You think of the side of 178 right now. Of course, they still got a pick to kind of fix their draft, but they have this Centaur who's like a passive laner that provides initiate. They've got an Ogre who can provide this deep vision for the disruptor to get the glimpse off, but that's about it. And then this Razor, he does well at single core lineups, but that's it, right? Like this HellRaisers draft, they pick one more. Like if the Leshrac's carry, for example, the Venge is 5, and they just pick a really strong position 4. There's threat for 178 that HellRaisers have way too much aggression. And 178, they don't have this lane push, right? They have only Razor who can cleanly push out lanes. So it's 178 are in a really scary position right now.
Definitely. Meepo gets banned out, just making sure there's no opportunity for exactly what they need, which is some sort of accelerant plus wave clear. HellRaisers, like I said, this might just be a support after all. You do see a pattern of the mid being revealed in the 4th pick if you don't have final pick. And
I honestly think right now, if they just pick a position 4 that can sit behind this Doom and apply a lot of pressure, sure, it could be the Leshrac, but the puck might be the position 4 here, and or even it could even be some weird. Actually, no, yeah, it should be Leshrac carry, Venge 5, puck 4. I have seen some puck 5s come out, so it could even be a Venge 4. But either way, I think HellRaisers have a really solid draft to apply a lot of pressure. And sure, you have this Wraith King, but again, his item build, it takes a little bit of time to come online. So this is a position 4 puck, a 5 Venge with a carry Leshrac. There's so much tempo coming out for HellRaisers that both Razor and Wraith King need to get to like 7, 8k plus net worth part of the game for them to potentially come online. So
we will get treated to the 4 puck. As you said, it could be played as 5 as well. One of these heroes that definitely benefits from all the couriers because it's a side product. Once again, it's not like the Q Nature's Prophet game we saw where it's like, yeah, I'm going to sit between the towers. It's just a hero with quick mobility on the lane to snipe your couriers out.
Yeah, the puck mobile hero. So for sure, if you get that again, we saw in the last game that deep ward on the high ground in the dire jungle to scout out when couriers were coming. If you have that plus a puck who's proactive in the right positions, couriers would be dying.
And this is the guy who, with a tiny, was sniping out couriers constantly previously. So probably like to see something similar. The question is whether 178 learned from last time and actually do get the D-Wars this time around.
Yeah, again, new patch. Its vision is a really hard aspect of the game. People overrate it. To be honest, they think it's really easy, but when you think about vision, it's like, how did the ward get placed? How was the process? Did they smoke for it? Did they already control the area? Was there a hero scouting him out? There's so many factors into what makes a good ward that you can't just simply get good at it after a new patch comes out when there's map changes. It's going to take a long time. So.
That's why a lot of the time when new patches drop, like big changes to the game, we see things like the Tinkers maybe reemerge or Nature's Prophet, just heroes that benefit from the anarchy of map changes and lack of knowledge around.
It's the comfort of what you feel and what you see on the map. When you have heroes going everywhere, you don't know what the best route is to kill that person. And Dota is a game which is all about those seconds. And if it takes you an extra 2 to 3 seconds to get to that hero because of a map change, then you're not really punishing him, right? So,
yep, efficiency. You know, it's something we always keep in mind from patch to patch when we talk about carries and their farm patterns, right? It's always been a classic example. It's always been something we remember. But you mentioned it, right? If you're smoking and then rotating and off the back of a rotation to go for a kill along the way you ward, it's doubling the value of that smoke in itself.
Yeah, as long as there's so many intricacies to a good ward, but
you can spend a whole hour.
So beautiful. I was about to go, and I don't know what. There's a more important thing happening.
Save that
in this
for the
game.
YouTube content right there. You know?
All right. I'm seeing a segue. We'll do a shout out at the end of that.
I'm on my 54th episode. Whoa, I'd be impressed actually.
No.
Of meaningful
episode number
thought,
1, but you know when episode 1's starting, that's the key thing.
This is the really depressing part where we go to your channel and just discover 50 videos on teas. Well, it's just a tea review channel.
I'm down.
I can imagine
another
you doing
2 for 2 split though.
Of
course.
There's a little bit of a brawl. Nah, they back off straight away. So it will be the 2 for 2 split.
2 for 2 split.
They realize, hold on a sec, Ogre plus Wraith, that's stuns. Let's not do this.
This is such a potentially punishable thing in the future because you can see how teams are so comfortable with the 2 for 2 that
you could get caught out.
Get a little bit get a little bit complacent, and then suddenly there comes your 3 for 2, and bada bing, bada boom, you get a kill. You're in the lead.
All right, calm down, Tony. I've forgotten his name, the Italian ad.
I've never been able to say that before. I've really wanted to pull out a bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Well, the question is, what heroes can go boom in this game? Surely, does the puck feel vulnerable? Because it's an ogre on the lane, right? Like, you usually go ignite points.
Any target to TA, she always provides the boom.
Well, there you go. That's where we should be looking. I mean, I'm intrigued by this bot lane just because with the changes to Wraith King with Vampiric Aura, you can already see he starts with a point there because you now get bonus damage.
Yeah? Oh, this is very nice.
It's basically, it's like you're gambling, right, with the crit before. It used to be, if I get a crit, sure, we can get a kill. Now it's like sustained damage. It just feels so much better than RNGing your way through to a victory.
It gives him more presence within the lane. Before you'd go for like a Q and E build, and then you'd have a value point in W, but at least now he's got more of a footing within the lane.
Yeah, I remember when I read the change, I was like, oh, they've just killed Wraith King, and I kept reading. I was like, okay, the lifesteal's pretty bad now, but the bonus damage. Oh,
Who doesn't love damage?
you just nerfed Quelling Blade and then buffed Vampiric Aura. Get me in. Still not as good as the neutral insta-kill Wraith King. We will miss you.
Oh,
This would have been your perfect patch.
they were the golden days.
They were. Wraith King 4 every game.
I've still not seen an Iron Talon, by the way. That's it's a little bit upsetting.
The weird part is like, I was playing some Dota games last night, and every game was an Iron Talon. So I was trying to remember if there was at least one, and you're right. I don't think there has been a single Iron Talon game. Or there might have been. I think there was one where it was dropped in base for some reason. No one wanted it.
Maybe. A little bit later on. Maybe.
It wasn't a game where anyone used the Iron Talon, is the point.
Let's see. The Iron Talon, a beautiful item.
Decent start for 178 on their lanes, though. Everyone's getting decent CS.
Yeah, this is what they need. They need to have good laning phase and then just kind of accept that their aggression will be kind of rotation based, where if HellRaisers are over aggressive, they can get some good TPs, but overall, they're dependent on their items. Meanwhile, HellRaisers, all they need is their TA to have their items, and then they can play for that, so...
That's definitely the case. You know, Puck can set up things throughout the Dream Calls, low cooldown, got stuns available. The Doom is the only big kind of cooldown you have to worry about. But as we mentioned, with this type of draft that 178 has, it's probably just something you throw onto the Centaur when there's a big fight going on.
Yeah, so for these team fights to go down, it's going to be, can they get the vision onto the Centaur? Can they get that Doom onto him and then take the fight? If the Centaur's already dead, you then probably are looking to maybe either Doom the Razor or the Disruptor, depending on how the fight's going. But your primary target for a team fight is the Centaur. Simply for the disengage.
A little bit deep in the mid lane. Nyx almost dies to Pikachu here.
Yeah, it's the Razor v TA matchup. Razor will be in the lead simply because of the TA being very short range.
And it's even better with the new Link, right? Just attacking you along the way all the time.
Yeah, it's so obnoxious actually.
It's like you think of changes that were needed on heroes, and you sit there and you go, why? This hero is frustrating enough, but this step
You
too
mean like
far.
Puck getting a little
little?
with his waning rift?
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say a little buff. If you were gonna say little buff, I'm gonna end the call and do this solo because Puck is insane right now with those changes.
The little jump, man. What?
Yeah. You know, and that goes with your cast range talent, and you can build an Aether Lens, and all of a sudden,
Ah, I see. Okay.
it's like it sounds like I'm not memeing. This is the sad part. I'm not memeing. It's actually quite strong.
Okay. I've not seen it. I probably won't see it for a little bit of time, but when it does, I know who I heard it from. Okay, I know who to give the credit to.
Wait. Well, it makes sense for a support Puck, right? Like if your team needs more mana, and it's like I build Arcane Boots then, and I can then build across into Aether Lens. It's not bad.
I'm ready to see it.
It's okay, you know, because you start... And this is the other thing. Another hero that loves level 30. You start for support Puck. Late game, you start building your right-click items. Get to level 30. You on the new right-click core.
Level 30. Oh, imagine being able to get 420 GPM and then get rapid fire just because you're level 30.
Yeah, exactly. These type of heroes.
But realistically, in a pro game, I don't expect level 30s to be a regular occurrence.
No.
Like, level 30s should be as regular as, like, mega creep comebacks, you know? It's like a 1 in 100 type game where it's like, oh. And when I say 30s, I don't mean one hero having a good game. I mean, like, both teams both hitting 30s.
Yeah, all of them being there. Like, you have to keep in mind the outliers such as XP talent heroes that...
Yeah.
It's a lot more feasible for them to hit around, like, the 40-minute mark or so. Oh. There's Shara. I mean, you got him on the tower. Looked like Leshrac should have been out of that. Miposhka was nowhere nearby to help, though.
This is the one lane that can go wrong for HellRaisers. When you have a Doom in one lane, he's naturally very tanky, especially if you only have this Raking Ogre. Isn't too much damage. So, the start of the game, 5 minutes, only 1 kill. It's a slow start. And this is what both teams really want. HellRaisers want this slow start into the insane aggression. 178 wants slow start with potential punishments, then into them making the correct moves after that.
Now they'll move Elmo mid.
Oh no, the courier!
Oh, there we go. They actually got it before they could get the phase boots out, and now Razor in trouble. I say, would have just been the chainmail, but that might have been enough to keep him alive and get him out. And as a result, Razor goes down. Oh, courier.
This new patch, pro players have just been a little bit... They just don't care about their couriers anymore.
It's because they're so slow and like... The deception is flying couriers, as mid especially, right? You're like, they can't kill it that quickly. And you remember, attached to me, It moves slow, and its health is worse.
Maybe we're finding out all these core players on these pro teams actually are relying on the supports, micro and the couriers.
Oh, you'd like that as a support player, I'm sure. Top, Pedishara goes down. Vengeance has been had by the Venge himself. I mean, it is beautiful, though. You just watch him, it's like, well, I know this core never played support. He's clearly that guy that every time he rolled badly on the fast queue, he just abandoned. We know. Probably not even calibrated as a support.
Or he has, but he's tanked it so he can play support and get easy MMR for his other role.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, he's like, guys, there's a jungle now. It needs to be catered to. I'll be in there.
I can support my core in the jungle. My MMR. Going on top again, though.
Jump in. Elmo tries the stun, does connect, and runs away from Centaur successfully. We'll leave him salve up. Looks to re-engage on Bignum, who can't even turn around for a second. Won't interrupt the salve, and instead, he'll give his life.
And also then straight away on bottom as well.
More action.
So much aggression.
Look at that. Perfect time. His phase boots arrive complete. And he'll look to run away. The
Stuns
problem
up
is...
in one, though.
Yeah, it's a bloodlust phase boots Wraith King. You're not getting away, my friend. Not to mention the Skelly Bros with that passive. Only 1 point, but...
You mean the boys?
The boys. The Skelly Bros.
Summoning
The
the
Skelly
boys.
Bros. Yeah.
Oh, no. Take away the R.
No, it's
Add a Y.
Skelly Bows.
No, boys. I said add the Y. Add the Y.
You can add a Y on the end of Skelly.
I was about to all chat
Can't you,
boys.
pleb? Come on. You don't know where you're adding these letters. Come on. Gotta be specific. This is how poorly commissioned art gets completed. You don't provide the correct specification. Elmo was not provided the correct map is going to be his excuse. He thought he was at the shrine already. Seiyu. Shouldn't be a kill. Throws out the silence to make sure he can escape. They're still hunting though. Kinetic field, and they have the vision. With the Thunder Strike on top of him, that's going to be a double kill for Pikachu.
It's a better start from 178. They're the ones making the moves.
Moves in response though. If there's something you say about HellRaisers, they've been very good about making the kills happen around the mid lane. And you did mention the key to their draft is this TA popping off and getting the iron.
Yeah. All this pressure coming up from 178 is onto the side lanes. So as much as it's good for 178, you're still not answering that big kind of win condition hero that is this TA in the mid lane. Like, there's big timing that they're going to try and enable.
You are impressively enough a decent margin ahead on the Razor though. 600 gold up at the 4k mark. Not too bad. Definitely utilizing the passive that you get from Irestorm as much as the active on the AoE damage.
Also, I want to put it out again. This is now the 5th game that we've had a trusty shovel. 5 out of 5 we've had trusty shovels.
I mean, clearly, maybe there's been like a stealth patch for competitive though.
What?
But,
trusty shovel has to be in all games?
Yeah, but only one team gets it.
Ah, I see.
You have to fight over it. You know what they're going to do? Next patch, they're going to make it so trusty shovels drop on death.
Ooh. I think all neutral items should make it really interesting.
Okay, that's you're taking it too far. You've ruined it now. The gem wouldn't be better than the original gem if that was the case.
But that one can still keep 3 deaths. That's fine.
What? You know, this is a good thing you're a coach, because you wouldn't be allowed to be a designer.
Why not? I have great ideas for neutral items. Don't worry. If you head on over to... I'm not going to do that, don't worry.
I said the same thing before Kips muted me and stopped listening to my insights.
Yeah, I've got a filter now. It's fine. I've developed it.
Antimos. They don't want to pop this reincarnate. Oh, Puck gets caught on the side as well. The swap and Poshka trying to go for the kill on a Happy Darara, and Seiyu buys enough time to move away with his mini blink that for some reason he was given in a patch where he wasn't needed anything. You can feel the pent-up stress. As they turn around, they find a kill and avenge anyway. In the mid lane.
On mid, though.
Yep, chasing on a Nyx. He's too fast though, and he's out. Doom gets thrown out pretty early on a Razor. You right there, Bo? I think he forgot that while the passive was changed, you still get movement speed on Razor. And they even lose the mid tower. This is looking rough for HellRaisers.
Yeah, that was an awkward one for sure. Like, HellRaisers, their fights go well if they're 5 heroes together. When they're like 2 or 3, they don't have enough damage. They rely on that Leshrac being able to play behind the Doom or playing behind the tier who's made that initial jump. If they don't have that, they have to wait. Like 178, sure their draft needs a little bit of time to come online, but they're still tanky. They've still got like Ogre, Wraith, and Centaur, all big boys who can just tank a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, I know we both agree that the Doom he doesn't really have to worry too much about holding the Doom and just throw it on the first target he sees, but maybe on a target that you can actually catch.
Or when you actually want to fight. That wasn't really a fight though. That was like
That was a lot more like a threat Doom. Like, stay away.
go away, leave me alone. Yeah, pretty much.
I'll defend myself.
I'll use it. I will.
Pressing the button. And yeah, that's how you don't play Doom, ladies and gentlemen. Green call. Good one on center. They need to get the follow-up stun before he can get the opportunity to move away. But reinforcements are here. The glimpse back on Elmo. Swap out, beautifully done. They'll turn around and avenge instead and say thank you very much and save. You can't really do much. He has got the maxed out Wayne and Rift. He could actually do a lot of damage to the center. Stun's going to come out. Elmo can't get close off the stun. The backstab from Razor, the swap in, actually ends up being bigger trouble though, as Leshrac and Venge both go down. They even get the courier.
They're just trying to go for these engagements and not respect the TPs from 178. When 178 outnumber you, even if you have potentially a little bit more aggression, like to provide, when you're outnumbered, you're just not going to win these fights. So I think HellRaisers just need to slow it down, wait for their TA to want to join these fights, and then play off that. They didn't even have Doom. They're literally just trying to play against like 3v the world right now.
They'll have Doom next time at least, and they'll actually have the ultimate Doom with it, as he just has picked up the drums. They're on the way out, slowly on this 345 movement speed courier.
So chugs along.
It's like a 16th century train. I don't even think they had them in the 16th century. That's how slow it is. Just a giant cart on wheels.
It's a horse and cart.
There we go.
So the TA just completed her deso. So now it's move in, get the blink dagger, and then with the blink dagger, then try and make some plays.
What they need is an opening into Roche. The problem is, like 178, they still have the Stampedes to make plays with. Wraith King has been positioning around this top area for a while now, making sure that if you do go in, then 178 can converge from multiple sides. Are they finally going to punish it is the real question. Diarara gets his ward down and escapes without any incident. Wasted rotation.
This is what this D ward. Look at the D ward. Right, I'll ping it for you there. That is something. That's a new patch D ward. They instantly put it on the high ground. In reality, this should be on the stairs and you wave onto the high ground just to get the value from the D ward. But again, new patch, sentry placements. They're not always going to be that optimal.
I guess the problem is they didn't have a hero there that could give him vision as well. Razor wasn't close.
They had the wave. The Venge had the wave of terror.
But that's true. Oh yeah. Good push goes.
The dire D ward.
Yeah. Doom brought in. Fight underway. Magic missile swap out. Does actually break the static link, but the damage is already done and he's down. But Poshka trying to retreat. He might find him still. On the other side, Dreamcore had to come down, buy back out. They can finally punish Pikachu as he's trapped in. He can't afford to break the call and he doesn't have the health to survive. A big kill comes out. Miposhka finally goes down. He wasted a lot of the time and he snipes the Courier as well. Ah, vengeful spirits.
A questionable dive from Razor and a questionable buyback from the Doom, but it's looking good for 178. They're able to disrupt HellRaisers' ranks, and this Razor, he's causing so much pain.
And you can see the different playstyles clashing. The point you were making about wards kind of hitting as well, right? Is HellRaisers that ward placement is in support of what they were doing when they were Radiant side last game, right? For the Chorus Snipes. And it's 178. This is one of those scenarios where them thinking in kind of a different style of warding is working out in their favor.
Yeah, they're moving away from just plunking it down on what the game says is good. The eye on a high ground doesn't mean it's good. It means it's obvious, pal.
I mean, you say that. It worked in HellRaisers' favor last game.
When you're ahead, of course, it's different. You can defend it, right? But if you can't defend it...
Oh, I mean, they did get de-warded last game, remember?
That's true. Sometimes it's...
It's kind of an argument of overthinking versus underthinking, right? It's like, we're keeping it simple, and you're trying to do, you know, 4D chess.
Big brain stuff. Yeah.
Checkers versus 4D chess. Is that going to be the name of this game? Maybe. It should be simple for HellRaisers. Just get the blink, get the deso, and start making plays, and they have it now. But Stampede in the bot lane. Instead, it's 178 once again finding Elmo out of position and sending him back to Sesame Street.
Yeah, this Disruptor is honestly punishing this CIS playstyle. And it's why it's such a high-rated pick within this tournament.
Oh, They didn't get Nyx in the smoke. I think he wanted to be, and then instantly he was like, okay, that's fine. I guess I'll be the bait.
No, I'll just farm then.
He's moving in. Yeah, it's got that blink. Pedishara. Oh, okay, that is one of those scary moments when you get blocked by 3 different of your creeps moving in. And they know he doesn't have Stampede anymore, so they don't really even need to use the Doom as he's already used the Stomp. They'll just burst him down. They can turn around to the tier 1 tower as it is a Deso TA.
But this is the HellRaisers' timing now. They've got this TA blink. They're going to want to go. They're going to want to take control of a part of jungle. Or even maybe bait out the Leshrac top, get a couple TPs going, and force some key fights.
Most definitely. And Leshrac, is he finally baiting correctly? Elmo is showing on the lane. They're going to want to kill him again. You know how this works. Philosopher's Stone also just found. Ogre would love that with a GPM talent, sir. The dream. Doesn't even need to steal the enemy's Philosopher's Stone this time. Static Link, short-lived as Pikachu has to run the hell away. The TP in is going to be a little bit too late from Nyx to do anything. If only Seiya was there.
They, like, 178 have so much control of HellRaiser's jungle from this ward that didn't get dewarded, so...
Yeah, it just makes every move predictable. Even if TA gets there in time, there's an argument you, probably get support of 178?
Oh, he gets it, nice. Okay, he got the ward.
There we go.
Hey, oh.
Just, you know, we're going back to the previous patch method. If you can't find it, just buy a crap ton of sentries and just lace the area.
Make a big old circle.
Exactly. Smoke movement. Nyx actually made it into this one. Pedishara breaks the smoke. Dream Call mistimed. And that is unfortunate. That would have been a kill since he had the Stampede. That would have been the perfect pick-off.
Bignum showing a lot of respect, tipping his centaur rather than tipping the puck there.
He had quick fingers. Puck didn't. You don't reward slow people.
No, but you could flame them. So he is showing maturity within the game. Whilst they go on top as well.
Or he misclicked. Leshrac gets caught out in the Static Storm because he went for these boots of travel. Still doesn't have that Yules. Swap out just in time to protect him though. Miposhka goes, go, leave, live, tell your children my name. Bot lane, Nyx. I think they know. I really think they know, buddy. Don't let him get it off. Oh, he got the refraction. He can actually escape. Blink. There it is. They blink forward to chase him. He goes hidden again. Bobo is here. They could initiate with the Doom. Jump in. No Dream Call for 15, though. They're going to keep committing, though. They know they can kill him off, but there it is. Elmo. Stun on it too. Beautifully done. And the Doom follow-up means that they'll be able to get rid of Razor. Pedishara, no Stampede means he cannot save the day. They might even find more if they're not careful. There it is. Dream Call out into Happy Diorara. Don't want him bloodlust in that tower. The stuns. Multicast on the puck's not enough to bring him down. And Ogre, well, he'll join his core in the grave. It will take a while because he is a tanky boy, but inevitability is death for him. Lantimos has arrived now, though, because that took a long time. And there'll be a TP out by Bobo just in time. They looked the wrong way. They should have been going towards the Leshrac.
The Wraith King body blocked himself with his skeletons so that he kept pathing around the tree so he didn't get the stun on the Doom.
I don't think they're boys or bros anymore. They're nuisances.
Oh. They're like second removed cousins that they don't really care about anymore.
This is one of those... This is one of those people who's not ready to be a father. He's just trying to dodge the duties, but the kids won't leave him alone.
He's got like 3 dogs and a cat.
It's actually, when you figure it out, it's more like an Oliver Twist orphanage, right? It's like the kids turn up for food at the end of the day. It's like, what did you bring me? We brought you gold, master. Good. You shall have some gruel.
Excellent.
Lantimos, he doesn't have bad reflexes. He knows how to hit the armlet, so he doesn't die to the TA.
Well, the Wraith King actually going armlet into Radiance without Midas. Again, I'm sure that's probably a patch thing where...
It's more expensive now, right? So it's a little bit harder to justify.
Yeah. Exactly. I think just the aggression coming out in the patch so far that Midas's might fall off a little bit.
Definitely. Feels like you need more health instead of attack speed. Bobo being chased onto. Pikachu incredibly fast with the drums activated, the bloodlust, but the trap deters him. And for 178, this is an important crucial area. They just want to try and create this buffer zone because they know how badly HellRaisers want to get into the pit with this TA. Can't allow it.
They have the Doom. They have everything they need. If they can get the Doom onto the centaur right now, this could be a fight.
They silenced him up as well, so they'll follow up. But no, the stuns from Happy Diorara on point. Plantimos hitting into the Doom. He throws it out now into the center, but they need to retreat. This is a runaway Doom. Slow comes out. Miposhka will be the sacrificial lamb, and they do find a second on the Leshrac, so that's 2 dead on the side of HellRaisers after that glimpse back.
Oh, that had the potential to be such a good start to the fight, but the fact that you don't have any initiate on your Doom and you can't really get to that centaur, it was just a good choke point for the 178 to kite them.
Yeah. That's the crux of the puck support. That's where it backfires, right? It's like, usually this hero, when he makes those Dream Core plays, he's a core who has some items, he's accelerating levels and does a lot of damage. But in this game, he's wholly reliant on the Doom being in position to stop any retreat after the Dream Core.
Yeah, exactly that. And the Centaur didn't even need to use the Stampede either. It's like...
Is that okay? I'll just wait here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he could have easily popped it in a little bit of a panic, like preemptively, expecting the Doom to come out after the Dream Coil, so...
The composure and coordination. And the Ogre and Wraith King on top of him in time. And he could have had a blink, but he went for this Solar Crest build. Does it feel like maybe HellRaisers is leaning a bit too hard into this notion of TA wins us the game?
A little bit, simply because there's a Wraith King they have to deal with, and the Razor. So if the TA does get static link, then the person you're enabling does get countered.
Oh, all stuffed away. And Poshka kept alive. The Dream Call interrupts him from trying to actually jump in. Static Storm's going to be there under the Doom, though. He tried to go in and do a big stomp, and it fails as they stomp on his face instead. Elmo breaks the static link to back away, but there is going to be another glimpse. Death once more for the Disco Pony. And the stuns come out. The multicast Nyx blinks away just in time, but Pedestrar on top of him. Puck trying to create that space when Makoshka goes down. They're looking onto this one. Nyx forced off to try and get himself away, but that Hurricane Pike won't protect you, my friend. And with the field down, there is no escape, and instead, 178 will now return to the pit.
Yeah, this is looking rough for HellRaisers, I think. The times that they've picked Doom, the one game that they played Doom and it looked pretty well was when they had the Nightstalker Coddle draft. That's when it was very easy to execute and they could play around. But when the Doom has a little bit more responsibility, I honestly don't think he's really able to enable his team. Like, his team are relying on him to provide them with the way to start the fight. Sure, you got the coil, but you need to get the Doom off to really start a key fight. So it should be Doom into that 2-3 man coil. But unfortunately, just not having the game to be able to do that.
It feels like their issues are multifaceted though as well, right? Like, is it me or has Elmo not really had a good fight? He's just picked off too easily every fight, right? Like, he went for this kind of pull the map, split push build, and it's meant he's not fight ready every time.
Yeah, it's exactly that. They need to, like, there's a very clear timing that they could be building towards, and I think the game has changed from that timing, but they're still trying to build for it as if it's like apparent. So they need to change up their playstyle for what's actually happening, rather than trying to follow a set script.
Definitely feels that way. You know, when you think of their front line, originally we were thinking maybe Lestrak buys enough time, distracts with the Doom, TA runs through the damage, but if Doom isn't living more than a few seconds and your Lestrak isn't really elusive,
as they go in bottom.
TA, blink away just in time. Whew.
I was gonna say it's the Leshrak build. It's the
the glimpse.
But the glimpse.
They're getting back. Forced stuff out
stuff.
just in time though, and he should be able to run away to safety. Happy Diarara, calm down, buddy. You're getting a little bit ahead of yourself.
He's doing literally everything he can to get out.
It's like, if I just kill her, everything comes and falls into place for our team.
No, but it's like, as I was saying just before that, it's like the Leshrak, the bots build. I honestly don't like the bots where this game, the meta, it's like, you don't have an enabling hero to keep the Leshrak alive. Sure, you got to swap, but the bots, it doesn't provide you anything. You need to go for this early BKB. If he just had like mana boots and a BKB, or even brown boots and one more stat item and BKB, he's able to join these fights a lot earlier. He'd have to BKB by now.
No, it's not like the Yules surf you much. You can understand in some games, you know, it allows you to dodge out, but you're in a game against a Disruptor. Like,
no, I think the Yules is fine because it gives you the kill potential. I think it's the boots of travel, that big investment into trying to have a global presence.
Yeah.
When you don't need to have a global presence, you need to be able to survive with your team.
I think I was looking from the perspective of he'd already gone for the boots of travel first, right? So it's like, okay,
exactly.
After that, you should be identifying that you just need to be in the fight and able to survive.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, once again, won't be able to survive. Big crit comes out to ensure that.
Double crit.
The ironic moment when Happy Diarara gets 350 extra health as well. Just a reminder of survivability being a great thing to have.
But you can see how these neutral items, initially they were on these cores, but now they're kind of dripping down towards the support. He's now carrying 2 of the neutral items, or 3 of them if one's in the backpack.
It definitely feels like we're reaching a meta where the difference to measure more than anything is going to be between the supports of both sides.
It's how the RNG of the neutral items allows for the scalability of your team to utilize them the best.
Absolutely. You know, the little
Damage
hand-me-downs
items,
definitely worth
yeah.
it in a lot of cases.
Any stat gain, but they're going on bottom more importantly.
You know, the Dream Core coming out, not really achieving much though. Pedishar lost with the stun, but they're going to stun Venge up down to half HP. Pikachu trying to finish it off, but we'll calm down. Just a Venge, they say. They just want the racks and they'll be able to get it. Pikachu does get hit up by the magic missile, but they can't do anything.
This Wraith King's build makes him so tanky. He went for the early armlet to deal with the Deso and the Venge, and then you got this Radiance and Halberd, again, very good items against physical damage, and then eventually he's building into the AC, so he's building every item he can to deal with this kind of big single core lineup that is the TA. I think the Leshrax had quite a poor game, so you can't really count him as a core at this point. He's now just like a 3.5 if that, so...
Mild distraction.
For the TA.
That's the thing, the TA,
Exactly.
You're at a point where there's just multiple elements to deal with it. I think the other thing that maybe we should have glossed over a little is the change to Vampiric Aura. It wasn't just the damage, right? It returned to being a lifesteal for everybody. So Razor, he sustains in these fights, and he doesn't need to worry about maybe something like a Satanic later on either.
No, for now he's looking good, especially with that beautiful killer in his. Look at it.
It's like, you know, I'm looking at this build and I'm like,
works.
this is what Razor should look like. This is pristine Razor.
Exactly.
Oh, good item to see returned. Waiting for the anti-mage double Aquila when he yoinks his opponents.
You can see though how 178 they got the better GPM neutral item. They got the Philosopher's Stone and then the Aquila, but then HellRaisers though they did get the gem.
They also just got the Titan Sliver. They got a big one.
So they are getting the better tier 3 items right now, which might allow them an in back into this game, but
especially on a TA, 22% extra base damage.
It's very marginal though. It's all about like in terms of the third eye, but you might get that better vision for that next fight. You might be able to get a little bit more control, but overall the game hasn't changed. 178 is controlling this.
And they're going to force a fight because they're in the base again. 178 with this DD Bloodlust Armlet. Brave King. Oh, good lord.
Ooh.
Yeah, he kind of hurts. I wouldn't advise touching him right now. He's a very grouchy
scary man. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, we're in on eyes now.
Oh, okay.
The third eye makes a 4-eye.
So potentially HellRaisers to have a vision-based advantage due to neutral items has now been completely neutralized. So, all right, there we go.
It was a nice idea. It was a nice idea.
I was trying to give HellRaisers a way back in through some form of Dota, but
maybe
the game doesn't want it.
Or maybe
the
if they
game wants a game 3.
A preemptive strike, maybe. But once again, where's Elmo? He's got BKB now, but he's out split pushing.
Yeah, I think this BKB is a little bit too late. They've lost one too many fights to really utilize the burst damage of a Razor, Leshrax, sorry.
Yeah, even without the DD, the Wraith King will melt through him.
Yep, the Razor's just about to get a BKB. The Wraith King just doesn't care, doesn't need one. He's got 2 lives, a lot of HP. So the Centaur's soon going to have an Aghanims as well. So this Leshrax's going to be doing nothing in these fights.
Oh, say this is a cute little play. All right, he wants to Dream Call him to stop them, maybe, but he doesn't. They might just about get it. That was very close. Just about getting the outpost in time. Actually, no, they didn't. They were just too late. So it stays 1-1.
Stays 1-1, which is, again, the critical thing. If they were to get 2 outposts at this time and keep maintaining a 2 outpost lead for the next 5 to 10 minutes, the XP difference would be so much greater. Additionally, on top of that, having the net worth advantage, this game could easily become unwinnable for HellRaisers just due to these mechanics.
The interesting part of the map dynamics to consider this game is the fact that 178 have done such a resoundingly good job out of controlling this center portion as well as the upper half, right? You think about HellRaiser's draft, this center section is critical to their success. You got the Leshrac for early pushes, and TA needs you to be starved of access to the pit so her team can take control of the river area. And it just hasn't been that way. I mean, we're 31 minutes into a game. This tier 1 tower for Radiant is still standing. Unlike
tier 1 tower?
Yeah.
Oh, mid. Yeah, sorry. I saw some drawing from the TA about top, and I was like, that's not a tier 1 tower top, mate.
Yeah, you got TA. Like Nick's has he's got some disorientation as he still hasn't dealt with the mid.
Yeah, and it's concerning because this is just an indicator that HellRaisers never really got to the point of showing what their draft could do in the early game. Because if this tower's still alive at 30 minutes, these are the type of towers that should be taken from that Leshrac TA pairing going for that aggression. So
Quite worrying. Elmo, still questions about what he can do this game. He's got the car, and there is the big boy play. Nyx has picked up the Divine Rapier.
Radiant structures are
And is willing to share a few items.
I'm honestly not surprised. I think the way the changes to Rapier, the fact you have True Sight, it means you can eat through the evasion from Wraith King, from his Radiance and Halberd. It can give you the explosive damage in these key fights, and
Especially
if you
for the
already feel
Razor.
like you're losing, exactly. If you already feel like you're a little bit behind or losing, then there's no real risk, right? If you already think you've lost, then there's nothing else to lose.
It's equivalent of the last hurrah smoke. See what happens here. Save. This smoke's going to break against Pikachu. They converge. The supports get found. Miposhka will be dragged back to his inevitable death. If that's all they get, HellRaisers could be worse off, that's for sure.
And this boils down to the whole idea of the high ground. If they'd potentially made that play, but standing on the high ground waiting for 178 to move in, then maybe it could have been something good. But because they just used the low ground, the glimpse, the power of the glimpse.
Definitely. And straight away, the buyback's forced out. So Venge can't afford to go down like that again, which is an awkward feeling on a hero that expects to need to save someone's life and give hers in return. So, Roche up, J178, clear objective. After that, it should be pretty cut and dry to go towards the base. HellRaisers are going to need an amazing defense here to stop their opponents from breaking base.
They're going to have to somehow blow up the Razor without him BKBing, then killing the supports while ignoring the Wraith King and hoping that the Centaur just doesn't hit any good stuns. It's going to be such a hard fight for HellRaisers to win.
Don't forget the part where they have to kill the Razor twice.
Yeah, that is true. There's 2 lives to this man.
That's the scary
It's not
part of
gonna be easy.
a Wraith King lineup ahead, right? Like, the Wraith King is always seen as this kind of easy to cruise through hero if you're off to a good start, because I've got second life. Once we get an Aegis, that's 2 cores you can't kill.
And this age as well, it pushes HellRaisers back into their base, which means the outposts in the next minute will be most likely 178s. So
Definitely can't afford to go out.
even if this game isn't done right now, 178 will just be further and further in the lead. XP and gold.
Trying to delay this. They come in, Dream Call right away. There's going to be Snap coming out. The control on the Razor, but he turns around, takes out Venge instead. Wraith King, you've almost got through 1 life. There it is. The BKB used by Elmo already means that now, with the Wraith King back up, can you continue to fight? Doom will end. Centaur now still has the Stampede to work with.
It's 30 seconds to his next Wraith King ultimate. There's no Venge swap, there's no coil. They shouldn't be too scared.
No, they didn't deal with the Aegis on Pikachu either. So he'll just stand in front line in the meantime. Heals out. Stun. Stun's in return. Nyx. Hurricane Pike. Disarms there though, so he can't get the Kona Ogu who's Glimmer caped up anyway. And Razor just goes back to tap and build. They are missing creeps, but they're on the way in right now. Jump in. Static Storm goes down. Templar Assassins goes straight away. The BKB from Pikachu allows them to pursue for more as the GG comes out. As they know with the Rapier on the ground, there is no way to recover as there was not even a buyback on the TA.
Ooh, what a game from 178 actually. I think just HellRaisers, they'd lost their touch of what they've just played a series beforehand and they were making these improvements. They were put in a good stead towards like wanting this aggression and wanting to have clean timings. But when they rely on their offlane player to be the one to start the fights, I think that's when HellRaisers become a little bit weaker as a team. It's no flame towards their offlane player, but it's more they're better when multiple heroes can start the fight. When their fight is all around the Doom, and then of course you have the Puck that can start the fight, but a good coil doesn't win you the fight for HellRaisers. You need to take away the disengage from Centaur if you want to truly take a fight, and that means you have to have the Doom. Because sure, coiling 2 heroes, Centaur can still stampede near the end of it and they're gone. So I think the itemization from Doom and the general playstyle of all of HellRaisers trying to take these early fights as 3 as 4 really put them in an awkward spot where 178 could just roll over them. And this Razor pick, it was so strong.
That's the big thing, right? You look at this game, you think about the pucks like, decent Dream Calls, and then every time it's like the Doom. By the time he gets there, half the Dream Call duration has passed already. Like, you imagine this game if you had something like a Sand King in the offlane, as an example. Something that actually initiates hard and gives you some serious CC instead of just targeting one hero. Maybe it looks different.
Yeah, of course. And as well with the Razor, when you see the Razor and then you pick the TA into the Razor, you're already asking for the Razor to have a good game. And when 178's lineup needs time to come online, and you give one of those heroes that needs a little bit of time, a little bit of items to come online, and you're giving him the free lane, it means it's so much easier for 178 to execute. Like HellRaisers, the TA was playing under his tier 1 tower, close to his tier 2 at level 4. He was then farming a jungle, giving Razor like no contest. And then you had this Doom. Sure, he had a good time, but he was struggling overall. The Leshrac died a couple of times, and then went for this bots rush. Like all of HellRaisers players individually were going for different things. Like Leshrac was trying to go for a greedy bots build into a later kind of a stronger build into like the 25-30 minute mark, but then the Doom was going for full utility with the Solar Crest trying to nail this TA, but the TA wasn't having a good game to match those timings. So overall, this again, it's about how teams adapt during the game. And HellRaisers, when they're ahead, there's no need to adapt because the script's still the same, but when they're behind, that's when they struggle. And the games they won today, they were never really behind because they had the better drafts. And this is a game that showcases that like an equal draft is about actual performance.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Maybe the question comes then, who gets ahead? Can they stay ahead? Because we mentioned these teams yesterday, at least. They had these moments where they would get a lead, maybe back and forth. And we've kind of seen exactly that across the series, right? One game was dominant for one side, one game for the other. The question is, how do we end this, right? Because we've seen this before. Sometimes you just get the most brutal bloodbath in the final game, but other times you see the momentum drop, and it's just whoever took the second game takes the third with ease. Maybe,
I don't think we'll be seeing Doom for HellRaisers. That's all I'll be saying.
And maybe an improvement off that. Maybe we actually get a very even game. But before we get to that, short break, and then we will resume for the final game of the day between J178 and HellRaisers.